This is the JTV Caribbean News. I am Sean Rose. The Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority has issued a stern warning to telecommunications providers in the region to stop blocking over-the-top content OTT features in mobile applications. More in this report from HTS News Force.
If you're an avid smartphone user, then you probably are aware of and a frequent user of mobile apps like WhatsApp, Viber, and Skype, to name a few. These apps all provide what is known as over-the-top content features that enable the user, for instance, to bypass the traditional methods of content delivery. The most frequent use allows the consumer to make phone calls using WhatsApp or Viber, an advantage from buying mobile credit. Local network providers like Lime and Digicel can prevent the consumer from using those features. The Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, ECTEL, is saying that should not be the case.
We are continuing to discourage the providers from blocking these services. We cannot get into micromanaging the business of these service providers. It's up to them if they think that they're being affected in one way or the other. But clearly you cannot do things to a consumer's subscription without a consumer's consent. So if the consumer has signed up for a particular service and then you have blocked that service without discussing with the consumer, then you have a problem here.
The big players in the telecoms industry are clamoring for better regulation of OTT.
Evidently, there will be some cases of conflict. The arguments you have heard from the providers is that some of these OTTs are operating outside of our jurisdiction. They're not licensed, and as a result, they shouldn't be relating with them. The fact is they have been relating with them, and then in normal circumstances, we expect that these providers should negotiate with each other, arrive at a business solution, and if this doesn't work, then you come to the regulator and then you present your case.
The constantly evolving telecommunications industry and a tedious legislative process keep regulators like ECTEL a few steps behind. Regionally, the Caribbean Association of National Regulators over the past 3 years has not been able to make headway on how to regulate OTT.
In the case of over-the-top services, as I said, convergence has brought about a number of radical changes in the sector. Our regulations in the past have been based on the separation of these services. Telecommunications, data, broadcasting are all separately regulated. All of these are now being delivered on a single platform. So you need a single set of regulations because what we're talking about is not the technology but the service. So we're regulating the service called over-the-top service now, as opposed to whether it is via mobile or whether via fixed line and so forth. So this is where we are as far as we're concerned.
ECTEL is the regulatory body for telecommunications in its member states and is made up of 3 components: a Council of Ministers, a Regional Directorate, and a National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, NTRC, in each member state. Rihani Isidore, HTS News Force.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul, says the increase in the monkey population on Barbados is reversing the gains made in the agricultural industry, particularly the fruit and vegetable sector. Paul said the increase in monkeys is making it very difficult for farmers and wants the authorities to implement a controlled method of getting rid of the monkeys. He said it is being done in the United Kingdom and the USA to reduce the number in wildlife population when they get out of control. Paul will be looking to government to help in implementing controlled killing of monkeys and appeal to those who have a concern about local food production to understand the need to reduce the monkey population in Barbados. The new Cuban vaccine for the treatment of chronic hepatitis B is currently undergoing clinical trials in Cuba and 8 Asian countries with the cooperation of the French company Abivax. Researchers say the new product, Heber-Nasvac, developed by researchers of the Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, has proven to be more effective and safer than the rest of those existing in the world against the illness. Studies of clinical evaluation have been approved by regulatory authorities in Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong, the Philippines, and Thailand. According to the World Health Organization, chronic liver disease caused by the hepatitis B virus is one of the main causes of liver cancer, liver cirrhosis, and other complications such as esophageal varicose veins. Approximately 1 million deaths annually have been attributed to the hepatitis B virus. It is by far the region's most unique delivery service, pizza by plane. Regional airline Winnair has teamed up with Domino's to offer a delivery service to residents of Saba and St. Eustatius. Starting this month, residents of the two small islands in the Netherlands Antilles could call and place their orders at Domino's in the airport in St. Martin. The pizzas are baked right before a scheduled Winnair flight and flown to the nearby islands within half an hour and left at the Winnair airport counter for pickup. President and Chief Executive Officer of Winnair, Michael Cleaver, said partnering with a company like Domino's is not only desirable for Winnair, but an additional service they can offer the residents of the surrounding islands. Owner of Domino's local franchise, John Caputo, said the partnership takes Domino's mission to be the #1 pizza delivery company in the world to new heights. And finally, in this week's Caribbean News segment, the Trinidad All-Stars Steel Orchestra has taken the inaugural International Panorama title, beating out 23 other bands from neighboring Caribbean countries, the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, France, and Japan over the weekend. An impressive performance of the mighty Trinis Corey Tabanka earned the Twin Island Republic's reigning national champion a $250,000 US first place prize and the World Steel Pan Trophy at the competition that took place at the Queen's Park Savannah Port of Spain on Saturday. Two other Trini bands, Supernova's Steel Orchestra and Renegades Steel Orchestra, took the second and third place spots. They each walked away with $200,000 and $150,000 US respectively. The Brooklyn Steel Orchestra out of the US and Trinidad and Tobago's Phase 2 Pan Groove tied for fourth spot, each getting $125,000 US. The competition, organized by Pan Trinbago, coincided with an international steel band conference in Trinidad from August 4th to 9th. That's it for the JTV Caribbean News. I'm Sean Rose.
Coming up next on JTV News, OECD rates the BVI as largely compliant in its approach to tax transparency and exchange of information. And JTV News speaks with aspiring young football players eager to join the national team.